Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, good morning. Good day to you, whatever time it is. What's up, everybody? What is going on? Man, another beautiful day for gaming. Dude, I can feel the coldness creeping in to where I live. I can feel the chill in the air. Fall is here. Um, I like fall, though, so it's all right. It's all right. Man, we're getting very close to our October, yeah, to our Scaretober, excuse me. Scaretober is very close, and it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. So, excited about that. We're going to do some more Shatterline today and tomorrow, and just doing some chill stuff in anticipation of hopping into these horror playthroughs that we have slated for Scaretober, which starts on Saturday. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. But what we will do first is the same thing we do every single day. Hop into our video gaming news segment. Let's do what we do. Let's get over there, see what we can find out that's going on within our loved video gaming industry, okay? Let's take a look. Kicking it off, Tecmo reveals Wild Hearts, releasing in February of next year. Got the same article right here. Let's look at it on Comic Book. They've got a trailer in there and stuff, so let's take a look at that. We've talked a lot about, Netflix will have like new news, and then it'll kind of go into a lull about what Netflix is doing in gaming for about a month, and then they'll have something new. And we've talked a lot about it here recently, so unless I see something new, I'm not going to dive into it. The era of $70 games truly begins this fall. Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm being sarcastic if you can't tell. Not a huge fan of this. Gamer, what's up, my dude? How are you, buddy? PS Plus free games for October revealed. We've kind of hit on that a little bit, I think, but let's take another look, make sure we didn't miss anything. Nintendo survey asks fans what Pokemon games and I think what spin-offs they might want. Yeah. So let's take a look at what they might have received feedback in regards to that kind of survey. Returnal PC leaks again definitely has DLSS and FSR support. Oh really? What game series is that, dude? What are we talking about here? Oh, Van Helsing. Dude, I haven't played those. I haven't played those. Um, and you're not able to find much on them, huh? That's weird. They're not like super new games either, right? So is it like just diving into the game so far don't feel good, or is it just a lack of what you're finding in information online regarding the titles that is really throwing you off about them? Xbox will acquire Japanese studios. Let's take a look at that. All right, let's go ahead and pivot here. See what else we can find. We saw yesterday. We saw an entire kind of article regarding the some of the biggest games coming out in October. So I'm not going to pull this back up. I would say take a look at yesterday's news segment. It's the I think it's the very last article we looked at. So if you check out the last of yesterday's news segment on YouTube, then you'll see that list of the biggest kind of hyped games coming out in October. Yeah. Yeah, FIFA's going away. At least the FIFA that everybody is accustomed to and knows, because the collaboration between EA and um, FIFA is gone. They did not come to terms. So FIFA is moving on and is going to be looking for developers to help develop a new FIFA game moving forward, where EA will continue to develop their soccer slash football game moving forward under the new title of EA Sports FC, right? Valheim update adds crossplay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for making a game, you know, either having a very well done kind of, uh, some kind of implementation in the game that kind of drives the player through the way the game works and things like that, or just making things very intuitive for the game player, you know. And games that don't do that can be very frustrating. Agreed. Yeah, yeah, agreed, man. Honestly, I mean, speaking of Valheim's kind of that way. Valheim's kind of that way, you know. Looking back on it, Valheim was definitely one of those games that there's a lot of just having to figure stuff out, and some of that can be very, very frustrating as a player. Um, and while that game was amazing, I think some of what made the game feel better to me was having people play the game along with me that already had experience in the game. While they didn't really spoil anything, they had very, very valuable tips. Yeah, that allowed me to not have to struggle with some of the things that weren't very intuitive. You know, um, so but I recall Valheim having an amount of issues in that department, you know, of just being like, here you go. And there were things about the game that just weren't very straightforward, weren't very intuitive for the player. And luckily, I had experienced people I was playing the game with, you know. Yeah, yeah, I understand that, dude. Yep, nothing wrong with that. Just not for you. That's fine. No way, dude. No way. Skull and Bones delayed again. Is this real? Is this real? Look, this is a game that got delayed like 6 times within a 4-year period. And they even had a huge showcase for it. I think the showcase was like an hour and a half long, something like that. What, about a month and a half ago? But they were like trying to hype this game up. Fake news? Where's Busy King at, dude? Where's Busy King at? Dude, that was perfect. Cyberpunk 2077 Steam success is great. We can't rely. Can't rewrite its history. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to read this. That's where, that's my big thing. People keep talking about how well it's doing and everything, but it's like, what we should not. That's good. I think there's something to be said for these companies that have games that release in terrible states. There's definitely something to be said for these developers that stand by these titles and continue to develop and turn them into something decent, instead of just letting them drop. Anthem. And even though Cyberpunk is, we still know that Cyberpunk is not going to follow through with everything they said the game was going to have in the first place, it has become a better title than it was originally. That's absolutely true. But the game had significant issues on release. And I don't think anybody should ever forget that, no matter how well it's doing right now. I think that should be said for any video game. Same thing with No Man's Sky has gotten itself into an absolutely incredible state at this point. But we should never forget what that game was like on release, right? So I think that's a big deal for anybody passionate about the gaming industry, the developers themselves, publishers, making sure we don't, learning from history, learning from the mistakes is important, and remembering, we can't forget that these things happen. That's for sure. Looks like Razer got a 5G enabled handheld gaming system that is getting a release. Let's take a look at that. Nintendo goodies up for grabs in Playtonic's charity auction. Okay. I'm not going to dive into this. System Shock is going to be worth the wait. This seems like a promotional type of article to me. This does not seem like System Shock, what I've seen of System Shock so far, what we've covered in the news segments in this channel. System Shock looks pretty good so far. But nobody can, with complete certainty, go, System Shock is going to be great when it releases, right? I mean, come on. So I'm not going to dive into that. That's like speculation. Phasmophobia gets a massive update with new locations and features. I'm not going to dive into this, but Beyond Good and Evil 2 defeats Duke Nukem Forever as the second most delayed video game ever. Jeez, dude. Overwatch 2 has revealed some competitive changes. Let's take a look at that. We've already got an article up about the PS Plus games for October, so we'll be taking a look at that. Hey, PS Plus subscribers can claim Fall Guys freebies. There you go. We talked about getting grounded, and oh, dude, what's the other game? I'll pull it up real quick and just tell you guys. Grounded and this new Souls-like side-scrolling 2D Moonscars. Yeah. So Moonscars and Grounded are now out on Xbox Game Pass. Pretty cool. PlayStation Stars loyalty program detailed. Now, if you're not familiar with what PlayStation Stars is, a bit of a precursor to this article. PlayStation Stars is something that Sony announced a couple of months ago, which very, very much sounded like it could have been turned into some kind of like NFT type of situation. They were very adamant when addressed about whether or not it would be NFTs in saying that no, it would not. It's just what Sony was saying at the time, and hopefully they haven't pivoted from that stance, was that PlayStation Stars is simply supposed to be a program set up for people that play on their platform to earn reward points that have no kind of monetary kind of real life monetary functionality, right? Like you can't actually like sell these points or reward tokens, whatever they're going to call them. They'll probably say in this article for money. They're not really actually worth any kind of real world money, right? But what you can use them for is to potentially get some in-game items, some profile types of stuff on your PS account, things like that. So we'll take a look at this and see what new details have come out regarding this, and maybe even a release date. We'll see. Dude, I'll believe E3 2023 is going to happen whenever it happens. They've said that E3 was going to take place for the past 3 years now, and it keeps canceling. I will not believe that. Even if it does take place, it won't be the same showcase it ever was before. It just won't. Hey, Jackbox Party Pack release date revealed. Number 9. Cool. Let's just stick with what we have for now. Let's stick with what we have. One second. I need to take a look at one thing real quick. Dude, are you kidding me? All right, I'll deal with that later. We'll deal with that later. I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, you know how I address games, right? Is just kind of taking a look at what there is to offer and going with what I find to be engaging in regards to building characters and what I think is going to be fun. So try it out, man. Yeah, give it a shot. See how it works for you. That's how I always address my games. So it can absolutely work for you. Yep. All right, here we go. Starting off with PlayStation Stars. Starting off with PlayStation Stars loyalty program detailed. The new PlayStation Stars loyalty program is set to debut in North America next week, and a new PlayStation blog post has revealed info about what users can expect. Launching on October 5th, PlayStation Stars will allow users to earn both loyalty points and digital collectibles. Loyalty points are likely to be the biggest draw, as users will be able to redeem them for PSN wallet funds. Oh, really? Exclusive digital collectibles and select PlayStation Store products. The program will be free to join, and while PlayStation Plus is not a requirement, there will be extra benefits for subscribers, including points for purchases made on the PS Store and on subscription renewals. While the term digital collectibles is often associated with NFTs, PlayStation was quick to point out that these collectibles are not one-of-a-kind, nor does it leverage blockchain technology. Users cannot trade or sell them. Basically, they're just neat little extras that celebrate the history of the PlayStation brand. There will be many different ways for users to obtain different trophies. Some of them will require more work than others. Users can place their collectibles in a digital display case. So a little bit of a profile flex there, which is cool. Which can then be set to private or showcased online. All users will start with a Stargazer telescope. PlayStation will regularly add more collectibles to unlock. The earliest batch will include designs based on the Pocket Station, Ape Escape 2, and more. The PlayStation Stars program will have 4 different status levels as users unlock less common trophies and make full game purchases from the PlayStation Store. Their level will increase, resulting in additional benefits. When the program rolls out, it will take place entirely within the PlayStation app, though the company does plan to expand it to consoles in the future. It remains to be seen how the program will be executed, but PlayStation Stars sounds promising so far. It's always nice to get rewards and extras, and the challenges and trophies sound like a fun way for newcomers to learn more about PlayStation's history. That's cool, man. Yeah, that's cool. I really hope that they keep it that way. They don't turn it into any kind of blockchain NFT kind of situation. And right now, it sounds like a really cool thing for them to implement for the players on their platform. Yeah. Jackbox Party Pack 9 release date revealed. Jackbox Party Pack 9 developer Jackbox Games has revealed that the upcoming Party Pack collection will officially release for basically all modern digital platforms on October 20th. In total, the new collection will feature 5 different party games. Quote, settings and features we've added in recent packs will still be available in the Jackbox Party Pack 9, the developer also announced. Earlier this summer, we also announced that you'll be able to kick players from the lobby and during the game as well. This helps keep live streams or games being played at public events as safe as possible. This party pack will also allow you to connect to games via QR codes that appear on the screen in the lobby before you start a round. That's awesome. That's great. Look at that little unicorn rabbit, dude. They list out the 5 different games that the Jackbox Party Pack is going to have, which is Fibbage 4, 2 to 8 players. Bluffing Party Game, all new Final Fibbage. Quick Sort, 1 to 10 players. A Trivia Sorting Factory. Work with your team to sort following answers into their proper order before they hit the floor. Junktopia, 3 to 8 players. A strange wizard has turned you into a frog. Create hilarious backstories for weird objects, then get them appraised. Non-sensory, 3 to 8 players. Professor Nanners is here to test your non-sensory perception in this drawing, writing, and guessing game. Roomerang, 4 to 9 players. Channel your inner reality TV star in an attempt to come out on top. Respond to prompts, bring the competition, and role play to avoid being voted out. Again, coming out on virtually all platforms on October 20th for $30 US. All right. Jackbox Party Pack 9. Cool. Razer's 5G enabled handheld gaming system is getting a public release. Razer's best known for making gaming PCs, headsets, controller charging stands, and other accessories. Now it's creating its own handheld video game system, the Razer Edge 5G. Razer partnered with Verizon and Qualcomm to announce its new mobile gaming handheld at Mobile World Congress Las Vegas on Wednesday, calling it the world's first 5G mobile gaming handheld. It's designed to allow people to play their favorite games, whether they're apps downloaded to play locally, streamed from their console of choice, or accessed directly from the cloud. See this. Everybody. Isn't this wild? Look at this. Everybody is coming out with these handheld devices now that Valve did it. Kind of crazy. You can. I would be willing to bet Razer's version is going to be pricey. The Razer 5G was originally created by Qualcomm as a developer-only concept system last year called the Snapdragon G3X. In other words, the company only sent out a dev kit for the system for any game developer who wanted to give it a test run instead of selling it on the market. Now the 5G-enabled gaming handheld is built upon the same system, but with a few changes in its design if you paid close attention to the details in the teaser. Most notably, random mode time. Sorry. Get them in there. Weird. I was trying out some new stuff. I'm going to turn some of this off, though. That's fine. Keep it like that for now. Okay. Yeah. Nice, gamer. Nice. Nice, dude. Most notably, the controller layout has added an extra button next to the trigger, seemingly bringing it more in line with the recently released Razer Kishi V2. The announcement of the Razer Edge 5G comes nearly 2 months after the Logitech G gaming handheld was revealed by Tencent and Logitech. Digital Trends previewed the system last week with writer Thomas Franzese, noting that the device felt niche considering that people can stream cloud games on their phones already. The Razer Edge 5G could fall into that same category, but Verizon does emphasize that some games can be downloaded on the device and played locally. Yeah. It's kind of wild. Lot of very devices coming out looking very, very similar to the Steam Deck. Yeah. But not quite the same functionality. Nintendo goodies up for grabs in Playtonic's charity auction for special effect. Fabulous folks over at Playtonic Games, the developer behind Yooka-Laylee and Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, and publisher of Demon Turf, BPM. We love BPM. And Lil Gator Game will be holding a charity auction next Friday, 7th October, to raise money for Special Effects' One Special Day event. Special Effects is a UK-based charity in the UK that was founded and set up in 2007 to help physically disabled kids play video games. The organization is a pillar in the gaming accessibility space and has been a part of the cause to create controllers that can use inputs from any part of the body, among many other things. Playtonic will be running various fundraisers on 7 October, including the aforementioned charity auction. All sorts of items that have been created and donated by game developers will be up for grabs, with all the money going to special effect. What nicer way to get a hold of some exclusive goodies than by giving money to charity? One of the prizes will be a picture of Tricky from Star Fox Adventures, drawn by the original artist and voice actor Kev Bayless, who now works at Playtonic, along with other former developers from Rare. One Special Day is an annual event from Special Effects where the charity's partners band together to raise money for the charity. You can simply buy a mug or a mobile game, and the money will go towards giving all kids the access they need to play games. That's awesome. The auction opens on 7 October. On that day, you'll be able to access Playtonic's Gala bid page. Let's pull that up. Where you can bid for whatever items you want to get your hands on. You can find out more about One Special Day over on Special Effects website or by checking out the organization's video. That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Auction not found. Let's go here. Special Effects website. Come on, baby. Bro, Bruh. All right, we're having issues right now. Here's what I'll do. I'll link this. I'll link this site. Hopefully this will help people get where you need to go to access this content. What a great charity thing going on here for individuals that need a little bit of help with accessibility to be included in the world that we love so much. You know, quite often it's hard for individuals with certain kinds of disabilities to enjoy the world that we love because of the way these gaming is quite often developed for us as having normal functionality of extremities and things like that, and it just doesn't always work like that for everybody, right? And so there's been a lot of advancement and focus from different organizations in trying to make accessibility a big thing in the gaming industry for individuals that want to be a part of the world that we love, but don't necessarily have an entry point because things aren't usually developed in a way that makes it easy for them to get into it because of it's just not developed that way, right? So kudos to these organizations and businesses that are really at the forefront of driving these efforts in an attempt to get everybody and anybody involved in the world that we love that wants to be a part of it. That's great. Phasmophobia gets massive update with new locations and features. With October just around the corner, there's no better time to play a horror video game, and Phasmophobia developer Kinetic Games seems well aware of that fact. The team has released a massive new update for the ghost-centric game, adding a significant amount of new content. Version 0.7.0.0 is live now and features new locations, the ability to create custom difficulty presets, changes to the game's ghosts, new player reporting options, and a whole lot more. The whole thing is pretty substantial, and readers can check out full patch notes from Phasmophobia's official page on Steam. Apocalypse. With custom difficulty, we'd like to invite you to participate in the Apocalypse Challenge V2. The event will start in the coming days. Keep your eyes peeled for an announcement on Discord. Earn yourself 3 unique trophies for your collectible cabinet just by playing the game. To earn the trophy, simply do the following. I'll let you guys read that. I'll put it in chat. Custom difficulty, a new difficulty where you can create your own games, modify existing difficulties or create your own, come up with crazy challenges, or just have fun. Each option is tiered to a reward multiplier, so you can still earn money and experience from your custom games. New location, Sunny Meadows Mental Institution. Sunny Meadows Mental Institution Restricted. Unlocked at level 22 is Camp Windwood. Unlocked at level 19, Ghost Types. With the current system, often when a ghost interacts or throws an object, it barely moves. To remedy this, we've reworked how a ghost throw works to make sure it's impactful, noticeable, and more exciting each time. Some ghosts have had their abilities and traits tweaked too. Yeah, so they've done some reworking here. Reporting of players, good. Through the in-game journal, players can now report others who they believe are breaking our terms of service. That is fantastic. They've got a bunch of new stuff they've added to the game too. Look at that. Some changes. Dude, this is a huge content update here. I'm not going to go through the entire patch notes here, but it is there in chat if you want to take a look. That's a long list. That's a huge update, it looks like, for Phasmophobia. For all you Phasmophobia players out there, the link's in chat, and maybe take a detailed look at everything going on here in this patch, okay? Overwatch 2 reveals competitive changes. Overwatch 2 is less than a week away, and Blizzard has revealed details about changes to competitive play in a new blog post. As revealed earlier this week, Overwatch newcomers will not be able to access competitive play from the start. Instead, they will be required to complete compete in 50 quick play matches before the option is unlocked. However, that's not the only change that Blizzard is making to the game's competitive scene. Notably, changes are being made to the user interface, SR, rewards, skill decay, and much more. One of the biggest changes to competitive play is the removal of the SR metric. In Overwatch 2, SR will be replaced by skill tier divisions. Tiers will range from bronze to Grand Master, and each tier will include 5 divisions. According to Blizzard, tier divisions represent the same skill levels as SR, but they give players a higher level view of where they're placed in competitive. Each division represents approximately a 100 SR range. The company wants players to feel less pressure when they lose a single match, so players will no longer get updates after every one of them. Instead, updates will be provided after every 7th win or after every 20th loss. Players that stop playing for a while will find their internal matchmaking rating lowered to help us reevaluate and determine their current skill level. Blizzard will raise or lower that rating more quickly, though, so players can expect to find themselves back at their normal placement without waiting too long. During sessions, players will be able to look at game reports, which go into specific detail about the player's overall performance. This section will feature replays and highlights, and players will be able to find details about how they performed with each individual character. Those reports will reset after each play session, but Blizzard plans to adjust this in a future update. Again, Overwatch 2 is coming on October 4th to Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Get some Fall Guys freebies on if you're a PS Plus subscriber. All right. PS Plus members can now claim the Fall Guys Satellite Repair Pack for free with their subscription. PlayStation has rolled out a new batch of free Fall Guys content exclusively for PS Plus members, featuring costumes and a new celebration. The popular Battle Royale party game made waves earlier this year when it shifted to a free-to-play model, a move that saw massive success. Yo, what's up, Syke? Just a second, I'll address that. Developer Mediatonic revealed that the game saw over 20 million players within the first 48 hours after making the transition to free-to-play, also rolling out a multi-platform launch alongside the shift. Now, players on PS Plus will be getting some exclusive cosmetic goodies to spruce up their character. The Satellite Repair Pack recently went live for PS Plus members with a small collection of space-themed cosmetics for players to acquire. Redeeming the pack gives players 2 new costumes for their avatars, with a space mechanic and orbit engineer costumes. The pack also comes with a new post-game celebration for players lucky enough to swipe a crown in their games with the liftoff animation. 2,300 kudos are included in the DLC pack as well, giving PS Plus members more in-game currency to buy their own cosmetics. The PS Plus exclusive cosmetics go hand in hand with Fall Guys' recently launched Season 2 titled Satellite Scramble. Season 2 features a variety of space-themed cosmetics with skins from Star Trek and Alien appearing in the Season Pass. Alongside a Hatsune Miku skin, the season has also introduced a variety of new minigames to fit the cosmic aesthetic, including Tiptoe Finale, Hyperdrive Heroes, and a Hex Terrestrial, among others. Fall Guys Season 2 also includes a variety of bug fixes across multiple platforms. There's some of the cosmetic stuff. The rest of this is just talking about the game in general, how it's done. So there you go. That's the what you need to know about the PS Plus freebies for Fall Guys. All right. Wick, what's up, dude? Yo, thanks for the shout out, man. Yeah, not sure about that. I know how tilting it can be to lose rankings in ladder. Having that delayed as a result of multiple games, it's like breaking much bigger bad or good news. Rankings being updated every game. At least you had the option of stopping to play, come back when you aren't tilted. Yeah. Well, you too, man. Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like an intriguing thing. It seemed like an intriguing kind of change. I don't know. I mean, I do. I mean, I think it's a smart way to incorporate. It seems, anyways, changing it to where if you're going to do it that way, making it to where you see your rankings change after a smaller number of wins rather than a bigger number of losses, right? But I don't know. I don't know. It does seem kind of wonky. And I don't really know how I would feel about it until I got in there and tried it out and gave it a shot, you know. But it did seem kind of, it caught me off guard reading about it. Thanks, Wick. Thanks, man. Um, so I don't know, man. Yeah, that's a weird it's a weird way to go about the ranking system. It's definitely in contrast to many other titles that are out there, and maybe they're just trying to give it a shot and see how it works. And I'm sure we'll get some kind of feedback on it moving forward to see how other people, because Overwatch is a hugely played game, right? And it's very competitive, so I'm sure that we're gonna get some kind of feedback in regards to how people feel about this new ranking system and if it's working well or not. I think it's always going to be a bit tough to get people to. I think especially in Overwatch, because what we're talking about is moving from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. It's going to be hard to get people to accept a change in the way ranking works, right? Rather than it just being a new game and they're like, this is the way rankings are going to happen, right? You're incorporating a change as the game is kind of transitioning into the second iteration of what it has been into what it is going to be, and it's going to, I think, be harder to get people to accept that change. But I think if ultimately across the board people are not a fan of the way it works, hopefully the developer, Blizzard, will listen to the community and maybe go back to the way it was previously, dude, you guys. Yeah. Crash streamer, dude. Well, no, I'm not. Yeah, and that's not what I was getting at. That you are likely wrong. I mean, they could quite likely be wrong. You know what I mean? I do think it's a weird flex. It's a weird. Again, I think it's easier to incorporate that kind of like, let's try something and we're doing a new competitive game. Let's try a different kind of ranking system rather than implementing it in the middle of a transition from the first game to the second game. It is a weird. I think it's a weird thing to try. I mean, better at that point than just in the middle of like Overwatch 1 being a thing or something like that. But I mean, it'll just time will tell. Pineapple pizza. I would crush some pineapple pizza right now, dude. Absolutely. You could absolutely be right, Psych. You could absolutely be right. I just think it's going to take time to tell how the player base feels about the ranking system and stuff. It did seem kind of wild, like a wild change, but who knows? Maybe it'll work. Maybe. Returnal PC leaks again. Definitely has DLSS and FSR support. Sony should probably just announce this one already. A new video has popped up on YouTube. It's no longer available. It got DMCA'd by Sony, apparently. Popped up on YouTube. See above. Until the inevitable takedown. It didn't take long, did it? Showing PS5 roguelike Returnal returning on or running on PC. The short clip remains paused on the game's graphics settings menu, though unfortunately it doesn't scroll through the entire list of options. What it does show is enough to confirm Returnal's graphics options on PC will be pretty extensive, including multiple image upscaling techniques. Whoever recorded the 53-second clip spends most of it flipping through Returnal's screen optimizations setting, which includes a few choices: resolution scaling, dynamic resolution, DLSS, AMD FSR, and NIS, another NVIDIA upscaling technique. 7 a.m., bro. Yeah. I mean, are you talking about because of what I said with the pineapple pizza? Because, dude, I don't care. I'd eat pizza for breakfast every single day, dude. If that's what you're getting at. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Psych. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. That's man. You know what's crazy? We have these really nice convenience stores, right? Like gas stations, but they're really nice, dude. And they actually have these pizza places inside of them that are part of the convenience store. And I know what you're thinking, but dude, they make breakfast pizzas. Oh my god, they are insane, dude. They're insane. Breakfast pizza. It's so flipping good. It's so good. It's so dangerous too. You can just go in there and buy an entire dude. My wife and kids got me one last year for my birthday. They just like showed up, brought me. I was actually streaming, and like brought brought a pizza in, and it was like this huge breakfast pizza. It was awesome, dude. It was so good. Trust sushi? Negative. No way, dude. No way. Uh no way, dude. Not I know like it I think like if I was living in Japan, I think that I'd probably be more apt to be cool with like sushi from like a little store like that or something. But not here, dude. Yeah, absolutely. Glass is half full, right? Yeah. The rest of the graphics settings we can see confirm a few other welcome features. Unlock frame rate support and ray tracing for both shadows and reflections. You guys are funny, dude. Given the DLSS support above, it seems likely Returnal will support NVIDIA's RTX ray tracing tech. This is like the fourth time Returnal's PC port has leaked in some form. Popped up on Steam database, showed up in a GDC talk earlier this year. Someone already posted screenshots of the graphics settings page alongside a leak on Sony platformer Sackboy. Probably time to own up to this one, Sony. Yeah. Insiders. Xbox will acquire Japanese studios. Xbox are finally turning the tides against PlayStation. From one huge buyout to the next, they've been steadily expanding their empire. And it won't stop with the acquisition of Activision. Oh no, they plan to go much further. The strategy is clear. Make Game Pass the Netflix of gaming. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I've actually been comparing it to that. That's funny. I've been comparing, what Game Pass is kind of doing to the video gaming industry, the video gaming, as an entertainment industry, to what Netflix did to the entertainment industry of movies and TV series, By making the service that huge and that much of a bargain, you basically have to have it as a gamer. And at that point, why would anyone bother buying a PlayStation? It's a good plan. And we've just heard about where they want the next Game Pass additions to come from. As revealed on the Giant Bombcast podcast, Xbox are in acquisition talks with multiple Japanese studios and publishers, both large and small. The reason for their constant expansion was also explained. Xbox are reaching a point with Game Pass where it's so big and licensing is costing so much, it's actually becoming cheaper to just produce the content in-house. In the same way that Netflix has been increasingly producing their own content instead of licensing. Why can't I speak? Yeah, Tinwin, I was waiting to talk to you. Licensing it from others. Yeah, dude. Are you going to be down to start it up on Saturday after the news segment? Hiya! Licensing. Yes, like. Yo, just keep me in the loop. I can always. I've got other games ready to roll, so I just need you to keep me keep me in the loop for how your schedule's working out, and that's what we'll plan on. Cool. We'll plan on Saturday being Fear 3. Okay. Probably starting sometime between what would be 7:30 a.m. for me and 8. Like right after I finish the news segment. Yeah, that's what I figured too. Probably sometime. Like I figured two to 3 days would get it taken care of. Yeah. But I figured if we pushed it, we could probably get it taken care of over the weekend. So that would probably be a good play. Yeah, but I've got it ready to roll, man. So if it's gonna work for you, then I'm good to go. You just keep me in the loop, man. All right, and we'll. That's the plan. That's the plan. But it's fine if something comes up. Yeah, if something comes up, and because that's life, and I get it. That's fine. I've got other stuff. I can start playing Dead Space, and after Dead Space 1, we can work it in or something like that. You know what I mean? We'll figure it out. But that'll be the plan for now. Plan for now is to start Fear 3 on Saturday. Cool. How are you, buddy? It's good to see you. A clip from the section of the show where they discuss the topic is right here. I'll let you guys watch that if you want. Phil Spencer, CEO of Gaming, along with Satya Nadella, CEO of MS, have made it clear that they aren't. Wait, what? Made it clear that they don't acquiring studios? That doesn't make any sense. Publishers and content to feed the Game Pass machine. Okay. We don't know yet which studios or publishers they are targeting. Rumors abound, but we'll wait for something more concrete before sharing it with you. Got no doubt that at least one of these acquisitions will happen, though. You shouldn't need to wait long. Xbox is being smart, man. Can't knock them for that. They are being very smart about the way they are moving forward, and the Game Pass has been their golden egg, man, for quite some time now, and they're really trying to just keep building off of it and doing everything they can to protect it, invest in it, and keep that going. They don't make money off their consoles. If you didn't know that. They don't make money on consoles. Everything they make money on is just software, and a lot of Game Pass is huge for them. It's a huge thing. If you want to see that like video or whatever, there it is. Here we go. Valheim update adds cross-play. In case you somehow missed it, Xbox Game Pass for PC Game Pass, is set to add the popular Viking survival video game Valheim to the subscription service starting today. The early access video game will also appear on the Microsoft Store at that point. Ahead of that, developer Irongate Studio has released a new update for the Valheim that officially adds cross-play support. Quote, our friends at Pictiv have worked hard to make sure that the game looks and feels the same regardless of what platform you're using. But the patch does entail a minor change to the graphical user interface in the starting menu in order to make other people's worlds as smooth as possible. The preamble to the patch notes for the official update reads in part, if you're playing as a Steam player with other Steam players, it will work just the same as before, with the addition of now being able to mark a server as favorite. If one or more players are playing from a different platform, there will instead be a join code that you can use in order to enter the game. They've got the full patch notes right here. Crossplay support added. Managed saves, GUI added so that it's easier for players to restore and remove saves and backups. That's actually great. Minor network optimization for in-game hosting. Join game tab has been updated. Players can now add favorite servers. We just talked about that. Players can now use the parameter crossplay while running dedicated servers to support crossplay. When using this parameter, the back end will be running PlayFab instead of Steamworks. A new branch, default_old, has been added where you can play on previous Steam version of the game in case your server hasn't been updated yet. Cool. Okay. They still don't have the console version of the game ready yet, right? But it is being developed. So while Valheim, sorry, I know I was right up there in the camera. So while Valheim is already on Game Pass for PC, it is also slated to be coming to Xbox Game Pass for Xbox consoles. But it's just the game is just not released for consoles yet. But that's an incredible step for both this developer and this game. What an amazing game it is. And it has done fantastic already. And it definitely deserves, as far as I'm concerned, again, not every game is going to be for everybody. We understand that, right? But it is a consensus reviewed very good title. And it deserves from this developer to get in front of as many game players as possible for people to experience it, because it is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. Skull and Bones. Ubisoft, dude. What is up with this company? Skull and Bones delayed again. So, this title had been delayed 6 times in 4 years. And a month and a half ago, I think, 2 months ago, had a, like a hour and a half, 2 hour long, I think it was about an hour and a half long showcase. Dedicated showcase. Because they were set on the fact this game was going to release finally. And here we are. Ubisoft has announced that the upcoming pirate fantasy video game Skull and Bones has been delayed again. This marks the latest in a long string of delays for the title, but is notable in part because it was only weeks away from releasing on November 8th for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC via the Epic Game Store, and Ubisoft Store, and more. Excuse me. According to Ubisoft, Skull and Bones will now release on March 9th, 2023 for those platforms instead. I'll believe it when I see it. As for why the video game has been delayed yet again, Ubisoft states, look, whenever they announced that it was actually going to release on November 8th, I was like, dude, that's a weird date for them to release on, you know? Because we all know what releases on November 9th, Ragnarok. And there's so many developers that are steering clear of that date. You know, most developers are basically from the beginning of November all the way until like late November. They're trying to not release anything in that window because they just want to stay away from Ragnarok. So it was weird for me to see them push out a November 8th date. But that's what they did, and now here we are. As for why the video game has been delayed yet again, Ubisoft states that extra time will be used for further polish. What? Ubisoft states that extra time will be used for further polish. According to the press release from the company, game development on the title itself is actually finished. Additionally, the company announced there will be an open beta for Skull and Bones ahead of the new launch date. Quote, our team is hard at work polishing and balancing the experience ahead of the worldwide launch. Public news post from Ubisoft about the delay states in part, as a result, we've made the tough decision to move our release date to March 9th, 2023. We're very eager for all of you to get your hands on Skull and Bones and dive in headfirst to the dangerous and exciting world of building your own pirate empire. I don't believe it's ever going to get released. To give you the best possible experience, we've decided to take a little more time to make sure we can deliver exactly that. It's slated to release for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Google Stadia, and PC via the Epic Game Store and Ubisoft Store on now March 9th. What a crap show. Look, we talk about it all the time, right? There's nothing wrong with delaying a game. And as a matter of fact, a game should be delayed if it needs it. but there is absolutely something wrong. And this is a telltale sign right here of significant internal disarray, as far as I'm concerned, for a business, for a developer. You see something like this, and look, Ubisoft has had a lot of issues that we've become privy to over, past few years in regards to numerous delays, all kinds of games getting scrapped. Not that games getting scrapped is uncommon for big developers, but when you see trends in a company like this, it makes you wonder what's happening internally. Lots of games getting scrapped, all kinds of delays. This is another, prime example. Skull and Bones. We're talking, it had 6 delays within a 4-year time frame. Now we're talking 7 delays within a 4.5-year time span, something like that. It seems like the only games that they can really push out are like Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. And boy, do they push out Assassin's Creed, I mean, we talked about the 15th anniversary came up here recently, and they have 12 Assassin's Creed main titles and 17 spin-offs in a 15-year time frame, but they can't push out anything else. What's going on, man? So this is just so totally wild. I don't know what to say. I mean, I've been hesitant about Ubisoft and their games for a while now because of these trends that I've seen, and it seems like it just keeps getting worse, man. I don't know what's going on with them. Cyberpunk 2077 Steam success is great, but we can't rewrite its history. Yep. Cyberpunk has seen a huge resurgence as of late, thanks largely to the success of Edge Runners, Netflix's new and critically acclaimed anime adaptation of the sci-fi property. According to the global PR director at CD Projekt Red on Twitter, viewers watched almost 15 million hours of the show in just the first week, putting it safely in Netflix's top 10. This has been a great boon for the game, which launched in a poor, unfinished state at the end of 2020, has been getting gradual updates ever since to make it playable, improve on features like skill trees, and add new ones like wardrobe transmogrification. While it sold well at the start of its life cycle, there hasn't been a spike in the number of players since then. At the time of this writing, however, Cyberpunk is the 8th most played game on Steam, according to Steam database, and has nearly 100,000 concurrent players, although it peaked at 1 million players. Dude, yeah, I mean, that's the way it feels from them, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's the way it feels. Like, absolutely. It's really wild. It's really weird. I mean, I can't be the only one that feels that way, Like, I don't know. It just seems really weird. Like, it seems like that's all they can really push out. All I ever see from them is Far Cry, tons of Assassin's Creed, some Division stuff occasionally. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them, but they've got some issues. They've definitely got some issues. Somewhere along the lines within the processes within that corporation, man, something's wrong. I don't know. I'm guessing there's a what I'm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Which you see in a lot of big development companies, unfortunately. Yeah. I think here's what I think, and I think this is an issue with a lot of big development companies. I think there's a big a big break in that company. What I would assume here is that there's a big break, a big division in that company between upper management and what developers are actually trying to get done and see as what needs to happen in these titles. You know what I mean? That would be my assumption. And I'm probably not very far off, you know. Quite often developers, the people that are actually doing the work, they're passionate about what they do and they want to see things done right. And then it's this upper management stuff that it'll be fine, push it out. It'll be fine, push it out, and I don't know. I could be wrong. But Ubisoft's got some issues. There's no doubt about it. It's very, very, very apparent. It's easy to feel happy for the developers who worked on Cyberpunk and to see them be able to celebrate the recent success. Quote, it's hard to express when you're putting so much heart and soul into something. And for some of us, it's been 6, 7, 8 years sometimes, especially for those who started at the very beginning. Quest director Paul Sasko said in a recent stream, it's also easy to forget that Cyberpunk was one of the worst video game launches in recent memory. It's not easy to forget for me. But yeah, I do think it's easy for some people to forget, yeah. I played Cyberpunk at launch on my PS5 with a review code provided by CD Projekt Red, getting through the majority of the story campaign and many of the side quests in the first couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I experienced many crashes, 5 in 1 hour at its height, and a lot of bugs, some cut down on the frame rate, making some encounters impossible, caused me to lose progress. I was one of the lucky ones since I could play it on PS5. People who went to play it on an Xbox One or PS4 found it to be mostly unplayable. It ran so poorly that Xbox and PlayStation offered unprecedented refunds. Sony also delisted the game for a time. Look at that. The game felt unfinished. I think that's an understatement. Reloading the game often reset your progress. Scripting issues kept quests from triggering. Enemies could spot the player through barriers like walls. T-posing characters were common and weapons would float in mid-air. Visually, assets and textures would fail to load in and would pop in and out. Past-gen console players reported character models without faces or nearly empty city areas. Ran into a bug where even my health reached 0. I was still alive, making me virtually immortal. Despite official apologies and the company doubling down on major fixes, the controversies continued. CDPR was soon at the center of a few class action lawsuits from shareholders that claimed the company misled investors. While Cyberpunk sold nearly 13 million copies within the first 10 days, the studio's stock tanked once it became apparent the game needed much more work. Beyond the game itself, reports surfaced that the studio was implementing mandated crunch despite multiple promises to the contrary. Bloomberg spoke with Cyberpunk developers and found that performance concerns went ignored by executives, mismanagement was rampant, and the hour-long 2018 E3 demo was almost entirely fake. While many of the issues and delays were due to the COVID-19 pandemic, developers said there was a lot of pressure to get the game out in time for the Xbox Series XS and PS5 releases. While the parties in those class action lawsuits settled, you can also find statements from CD Projekt Red President Adam Kaczynski about the supposed performance on the Xbox One and PS4 Pro versions that feel misleading. Quote, of course, a bit lower than on Pros, but surprisingly good, I would say, for such a huge world. So, a bit lower, but very good, he said during an investor call a month ahead of launch. The gaming press never got a chance to flag those issues. The PlayStation review copy I received was sent a day before the embargo lifted. PC review copies went out earlier, so mainly positive PC reviews got published come embargo time. It was impossible to get console impressions up promptly, leading many to speculate that CD Projekt Red had tried actively to hide the state of the game's last-gen version ahead of launch. The developer eventually owned up to that accusation in an apology. There was a lot of room for improvement on the development side, and since 2020, the team has worked hard to get the game up and running in what should have been its launch state. Yes. I don't think I'll ever pick up Cyberpunk again, but from what I've seen, the game works now. The team had to delay the next-gen release and updates to get it there, but they did. Now, thanks to Cyberpunk Edge Runner's success, the game seems primed for a critical reevaluation, right? The video game industry has a short memory, and titles that have questionable launches often find success regardless. Final Fantasy XIV, an immensely popular MMORPG in 2022, but when it launched in 2010, it was almost universally panned. Yeah, they had to basically rebuild that entire game. Blizzard's Diablo 3 launched in 2012 with server issues and a controversial in-game auction house that utilized real-world money, but with consistent support and several updates, it gained back a lot of goodwill. Yeah, that's another one of those titles that I've talked about. Diablo 3. Being a huge fan of Diablo 1 and 2, I pre-ordered the collector's edition of Diablo 3. I still have it. I'll pop it out at some point. I need to go get a lot of my old gaming stuff out and show you guys. But I played through the end game and I uninstalled it and I never played it again. It just wasn't the game that I expected it to be on launch, and I never felt the pull to go back to it. Cyberpunk 2077's newfound success has already been compared to other recent gaming comeback stories like No Man's Sky. Cyberpunk 2077, No Man's Sky's Like Cyberpunk 2077, No Man's Sky's marketing touted it as a procedurally generated dream with nearly endless areas for exploration. Hello Games founder Sean Murray told IGN back in 2014 that it would take a player 5 billion years to explore it all. Seemed too good to be true, and in some ways it was. When the game launched in 2016, it was marred by bugs, mostly barren planets, and lackluster visuals. Sound familiar? While there are a lot of similarities between Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky launches, they differ in many ways. Hello Games was an indie studio of around 15 people at its peak, and its failure in the lead up to No Man's Sky release can be chalked up to a lack of experience, at least according to Murray. Cyberpunk, on the other hand, came from a veteran studio that was no stranger to major open world releases. There were no reports of crunch coming out of Hello Games, while many developers spoke to Bloomberg about poor working conditions in the lead up to Cyberpunk's launch, with one saying they put in 13-hour days. Cyberpunk was first announced in 2012, and many developers spent 8 years on the project. That's a long time even for a AAA title. But developers told Bloomberg they expected the game to be ready by 2022, not by April 2020, when it was first slated to release before getting delayed to December. They had to scale back on many features to get it ready, and despite all of that, it launched in a broken state. Reports concerning crunch, mismanagement, unobtainable deadlines, and misleading statements in the press and to investors show that this is more than just a regular video game redemption story. No Man's Sky at least worked at release. Cyberpunk didn't. Cyberpunk worked on PC to a better extent from what I understand. But I am not going to... That's not like an out. That's not an excuse. That's still, If it's going to come out on a platform, it should feel polished. It should be optimized for that platform. I don't care what game it is. That is where this industry should be. That is the mindset these developers should have. I've said the same thing about my experience with Elden Ring. Elden Ring on PC was playable, but it was obviously a port from the console optimized version to PC, and it felt bad. And that sucks because it made me feel duped into thinking that From Software was actually creating an optimized version of the game for PC on release, and it wasn't. Was Elden Ring, in the state of Cyberpunk? No, but it was still just a brutal thing to play through quite often, with its issues. So, we can't forget. It's great to see Cyberpunk's developers getting to celebrate their hard work, but it subtly reminds us the game has a dark history. There are people who have spent years fixing and expanding upon a disastrous launch. That's an important point to remember. As Sasko continued in that stream, it's good to be back, It's good to be back, honestly. It was really sort of heartbreaking. Unfortunately, it took nearly 2 years to fix a broken game. Not only that, but CD Projekt bungled the development and allegedly misled investors about the game's performance. It's still unprecedented that 2 major platforms would offer refunds for a major release, one with a delisting it for around 6 months. Cyberpunk has sold well, but it has had a disastrous launch. If we erase that history, companies could feel emboldened to release incomplete games made under horrible conditions. Why bother creating a great product when it's never too late for redemption? I think, one of the things that I find even more concerning about, and this is a great article, and it brings to light a lot of issues about, CDPR and Cyberpunk and the state of the game on release and how it has progressed. But the fact that, where the game has gotten to nowadays should not make up for the way the game was released at all. There's definitely something to be said for a developer standing up for the title that they released and trying to make it the best possible piece of software they can, even in such a dire state on release. Kudos to them for that. But it doesn't make up for what the software felt like in the first place. The state of the software in the first place. That's terrible. Should never happen. And I think one of the things that after playing The Witcher 3 and feeling what The Witcher 3 felt like, and knowing that it was much, there were a lot more bugs in The Witcher 3 apparently on release, and then seeing what happened with Cyberpunk, it's like, how did they trend further down instead of learning from their mistakes at CDPR with what, not that all of The Witcher 3 was bad, but dude, it still has a ton of bugs in it, And instead of kind of learning from some of those things that were bad about Witcher 3, seems like they just looked at what they could get away with and got even worse with Cyberpunk. I don't know. I've said this before and I'll say it again, and I'm going to bring it up again because of what we're talking about here with developers and these really, really bad, the notable history of bad releases in the video gaming industry. The prevalence of the internet and the ability for developers to patch games, over the internet has led to this kind of thinking from developers where it's more of a mindset of we need to meet these dates, we can push it out, we can patch it after the fact or whatever. I feel like, and that's not all developers, okay? But I think we're moving away from that. But there was a time where it was really bad. And I still think some developers are in that mindset. And I think ultimately developers need to get back to thinking about this as a situation of more in line of the way games used to be released, where it needs to be absolutely as polished as possible on release. Thinking of their software as approaching it as we can't touch this after it releases. Knowing that they can, approach it that way. Approach it the way that games used to have to be developed. Games are a whole different thing nowadays. I know that. They're much bigger. They're much more intricate. The code is massively, it's a whole different beast nowadays than it used to be in like regular Nintendo days and stuff like that. So I get it, but just approach it that way. Approach it in the mindset that you're not going to be able to touch the software after it releases, even though you know you're going to be able to. That way, the software comes out feeling very, very polished, and it's just going to be a better experience for the developer moving forward. You're not going to have to work on, bugs and things like that nearly as much as you would otherwise. You can just focus on content creation, DLC kind of stuff, expansions, and it's going to feel better for the consumer as well, right? For us as lovers of video games and things like that. This is a very good article. Monster Hunter light game Wild Hearts trailer and release date revealed. EA and Tecmo today officially revealed Wild Hearts, which is described as a new kind of hunting game featuring unique crafting mechanics. The new video game is set to release for the Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC via Origin, Steam, and the Epic Game Store on February 17th. Development on Wild Hearts is being handled by Omega Force, the same team responsible for the Broad Warriors franchise under the EA Originals label. Wild Hearts is set in a fantasy version of feudal Japan and tasks players with taking on giant beasts called kimono that are infused with the power of nature. Players must craft karakuri technology that is seemingly able to change the battlefield itself in some ways in order to defeat them. It very much resembles the Monster Hunter video games with a hint of Fortnite's building. Oh, weird. You can check out the first trailer for Wild Hearts below. Let's see this.
So, visitors to the land of the East. You do realize Ozma is fraught with danger.
Looks quite similar, doesn't it?
The kimono grow ever more desperate. They battle for territory. They clash for prey. But in you, is the power to stop this. In you, there is the seed of invention. You need only hunt. Trust that in so doing, the seed will soon grow. You will become a force of nature. And tame a world gone wild.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What do you think? As noted above, Wild Hearts is set to launch for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via Origin, Steam, and the Epic Games Store on February 17th, 2023. Wild Hearts features co-op for up to 3 players total, as well as cross-play. All right. February 17th, Wild Hearts. Maybe for all those, Monster Hunter fans that are looking for something a bit different and fresh. Maybe. The era of $70 games truly begins this fall. Fantastic. This year is wrapping up, and that means we're nearing the busiest time for video game releases. Even though COVID-19 has thrown a wrench in the entire industry and led to numerous delays, a few big games are still launching in the next few weeks. If you want to enjoy them, you'll need to fork over $70 or more as publishers begin transitioning into a new, more expensive era of gaming. Yeah, video games becoming more expensive isn't entirely surprising, since at least 2020, companies like Sony have made it clear that moving forward, gaming prices would be going up from $60 to $70. Still worth noting, as many big games this year released at $60 or less, that a majority of the biggest games coming out this fall and into the early next year will now cost more, even on older consoles. Here are all the games launching in the next few months that will cost $70 or more. Gotham Knights, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, God of War Ragnarok, Callisto Protocol. Then we've got Forspoken, if it doesn't get delayed again, Dead Island 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Wild Hearts, and Skull and Bones. They got Skull and Bones' new delayed date on here. I don't believe that game's ever coming out at this point. There are various reasons for the increased prices, from inflation to more expensive and longer development cycles to good old-fashioned greed. Yeah, that greed thing right there I think is a big one. Whatever the reasons behind the price increase, it seems to be here to stay, and it's also becoming clear that publishers aren't interested in offering up free next-gen upgrades anymore, or lower prices on PS4 and Xbox One versions. Some games listed above, like Call of Duty and Dead Island 2, are charging $70 regardless on if you are playing on PS4 or PS5. We already watched that. That's the Wild Hearts trailer we just watched. While I understand that developing and publishing video games is a very expensive process, it's hard to stomach these price increases when the games seem to be filled more than ever with microtransactions and other ways to siphon away players' dollars long after the initial purchase. Thank you. I keep stating this. Some might assume that the human developers working on these games will get more money, but that's also highly unlikely, right? Especially in an industry with a long history of exploiting its workers and which still in 2022 has almost no labor unions, right? Unfortunately, for folks who can't afford to routinely spend $70 or more on a single game, it seems to be the new normal moving forward for Sony, Ubisoft, and other publishers committed to the price increase. In a time when Game Pass has become incredibly popular and free-to-play hits like Fortnite and Genshin Impact continue to dominate the world, it seems like the worst time to ask people to plop down yet another $10. For a lot of gamers, it might be too much too fast, especially with more affordable alternatives like game streaming or monthly subscription plans available than ever before. Yeah, I mean, it does not seem appropriate. It doesn't seem appropriate to be asking $70 for new titles. And they hit on a lot of those marks right there. And I talk about it quite often. Whether you're talking about, these games that come out and now they're asking $70 a pop. And then, a month or two down the line, it's like, oh, hey, here's all this DLC that is already developed in the first place and should have just been part of the base game, especially if you're paying full price for it. But then they want you to fork over another $20, $30, $40 for that DLC. And then they've got microtransactions inside the game as well. And it's like, when does it stop? It's insane. And ultimately, I mean, one of the big issues for me in regards to this is the more that I see this kind of these things being incorporated to try to suck as much money out of people as possible, I know it has an effect on accessibility for people getting into the world that I love, right? And you guys know me in advocating for as many people as possible to enjoy video games. Ultimately, I think what this is going to lead to is more piracy, people just resorting to not paying for the games, or and resorting to illegal methods to get them, or just not being able to access the titles at all, which feels bad, So I don't know. It's not lost on me that video games are a business, right? It's a business, it's an industry, but it's very lucrative. These companies are making money, man. And to go to I don't see the need to go from $60 for brand new games to $70. I don't see it there. Not with everything else that's being done in the industry. So that's my take. Good article. Taku, good article. PlayStation Plus free games for October 2022 revealed. We kind of already hit on this a little bit. PS Plus free games lineup for October has been announced, and PlayStation is bringing the heat. Also, the first time in around a year that we haven't gotten the games leaked ahead of time. We haven't seen this one. Next month, beginning October 4th, all PlayStation Plus subscribers get Hot Wheels Unleashed, Super Hot, and Injustice 2. Yeah, Hot Wheels Unleashed is an arcade racing game that released last year to pretty solid reviews. Injustice 2 is NetherRealm's second entry into the DC superhero fighting game series and is an absolute delight. Even though it's 5 years old at this point, Injustice 2 still looks and plays great. So, nice little fighting game there. And then Super Hot. One of the best indie games in recent years. Super Hot is a first-person shooter that plays like a puzzle game. So there you go. Nice. PS Plus got some good titles coming in October. Very cool. Nice. There you go, guys. If you want to read more about those titles, I'll throw this in chat real quick. There you go. All right, here's the last article I have for the day. If you have anything to add that I haven't touched on for the industry, video gaming news, let me know. I'll address it before we move on to Shatterline for the day, okay? Nintendo survey asks fans what Pokemon games and spin-offs they want. A new mystery dungeon, another remake, and more. Every now and then, companies will send out surveys to diehard fans asking what kinds of games they would like to see in the future based on certain franchises. Atlas did one recently. Capcom does it. And recently, Nintendo did one specifically about Pokemon. As highlighted by a post on the Mystery Dungeon subreddit, Nintendo has begun sending out surveys to anyone signed up to receive My Nintendo promotions and newsletters. The survey wants to know what kind of games Pokemon fans would like to see from the series in the future. Even goes to the extent of mentioning existing spin-off series such as Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Other options include traditional entries and also more remakes and remasters. Even an option to request something else. Cool. The same source mentions how Pokemon Legends Arceus was apparently referenced in a separate question. In case anyone is wondering why there's no mention of it in the survey question above, and as you can also see, the upcoming entries Scarlet and Violet are referenced when asking a question about more open world games. Cool, man. Yeah, take a look at that. Which kind of Pokemon games would you like to play in the future? Please select all that apply. Or just something else. Or not interested in Pokemon games. Shenanigans. You know what I want to see? Psyduck's Adventures. That's the Pokemon title I want. Where you literally play as Psyduck. You just go around a Pokemon world, open world, and you just play as Psyduck, dude. You're playing through Psyduck. It's kind of like Gollum, you know what I mean? The Gollum game coming out for Lord of the Rings, but you're just Psyduck. And you've got like migraines all the time. So you're just trying to like figure out what's your place in the world as the Pokemon world as Psyduck, you know? Psy-yi-yi, dude. You know? I don't know. All right, man, that's what I've got. Thank you guys. Another amazing news segment. Appreciate you. If you're enjoying this content on YouTube and I don't know, see what you can do about coming and hanging out with myself, the rest of this amazing community. We go live at 6 o'clock a.m. CST every single day. I don't know. We're going to move on to some Shatterline, but other than that, you guys just stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and we'll catch everybody tomorrow for September 30th edition of Video Gaming News. The last one before we start the Scaretober editions of Video Gaming News. Yeah?